Hello, hello, and hello. It's Bernie here from Melbourne. I'm part of the Card Creators Plus design team. Recently, I showed you how I make a bridge card, an acetate bridge card, which sits at 7.5 by 6. So it doesn't fit in a normal size envelope, and I said I would show how to make an envelope purposely for this size card. What I'm also going to do is I've got some other random cards here that aren't quite standard size. This one is 5 by 5, so I'm going to make an envelope for that one. I've also got this card that I made, and this one is 4 1/4-ish, not quite, by 5 3/4, a little bit more than 5 3/4. I tend to make cards bases that fit whatever I'm making, so that's a bit of an odd size. And I've also got this, while it's not a card, I can actually show you how to make an envelope for this, which is roughly 3 1/4 by 3.5-ish. So we'll also make a card for that. So what we need to do is, when we're trying to work out the size of the paper that's required for our card, so if we use this one, we're always got to measure from the diagonal across. So we're not worried about the size, the outside size of the card. Where's my ruler? Here. So what we need to do is work out that this card diagonally measures 9.5 on my ruler, and that will fit 9.5 plus 1 inch. So I need to cut myself a 10.5-inch piece of paper for this one. Now I might just write myself a note, so we'll do all the measurements at the same time. So this is a 10.5-inch piece of paper that I need. This one here will be, it's a 7-inch diagonal, so we need an 8-inch piece of card, so it's 7-inch plus 1 inch, okay? And that will give us room if there's any dimensions on the card. Now this one, you can go in the envelope either way, so it doesn't really matter which way it is, so we're going for them diagonal. So whether we do it that way, it's not going to change the diagonal of the card. So this one diagonally is 7 inches, so it's going to be an 8-inch piece of paper, an 8-inch square. So even though this card's not square, we start off always with a square piece of paper. And this one, I'm going to actually put this one on my mat and pretend that it actually fits in here somehow. So if I make this part here one corner, this part here another corner, and I'm going to go out a little bit just so that I make sure I've got it, and then down to here. So that would be 1, 2, 3 1/4 by 1, 2, 3 by 4. So it's 3 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so that's roughly where the envelope will, this will fit in. So now what I need to do is measure from diagonal to diagonal. So again, it's here to there, and it's roughly 5 1/4. So I need a 6 1/4 inch piece of paper. Okay, so they're my measurements. Now remember, even though this is not a square or a rectangle, I'm using roughly how it would fit. I'm making it into a square. Okay, so with my envelope paper, I tend to have papers that I probably won't use in card making, or they're just sitting there and they're not doing anything. So I'm okay with using, I'll call it ugly papers. You might look at it and think, oh, that's, I can see a tree and everything. The chances of me using it in a card are very slim, so I'll use it for an envelope. Now, I'm not precious about giving someone an envelope that doesn't quite match the card. If you choose to, you want to do that, it might get a little bit more tricky. So this one's got some tags on the back. It still doesn't entice me to use any of them. So I will use, I've got 2 of them. I've got a piece that's got some little diamonds, some triangles in there, and on the back it's got some pretty little tags. Again, not sure if I'll use them, so I'm okay with using this piece of paper. This one's a bluey grey colour, and on the back it's got some sentiments. This one, I think, is, for me, it's quite an ugly piece of paper. It's got a plain wing. Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. And on here, it's got all things about road trips and that. So they're not exactly my favourite pieces of paper. So I'm going to make my my envelopes out of these pieces of paper. So let's start with this one. Now, this one, we decided we needed a 10.5-inch square piece of paper. And just to remind you, that was because the card diagonally is 9.5 inches, and we've got to add 1 inch. So I need to cut this down to become a 10.5-inch piece of card. So we'll go here and here, 10.5 by 10.5. Okay, so I'm putting that one with that. Now, this one here, we might use this for these two. Now, this one we needed an 8-inch piece of paper. So I need to cut this one down to 8 inches. Here. So if I do all my cutting in the first instance. Now, remember, that was because the diagonal of this card was 7 inches, and we're adding 1 inch. So I'm putting that one with that. This one, let's use some ugly paper on it. So this one, again, it should be an 8-inch piece of card. So that's because our diagonal was 7 inches, and we need to add 1 inch. Now, any scraps that I have a box down by my desk. My niece works in childcare. I have stopped saving pieces of scrap like this because I know, me personally, I know I won't use them. So these all go in the scrap box. She takes them to preschool. The small children love them, and it helps her out, helps me out. So that one goes there. And this one, we're going to need a 6.25-inch square piece of paper. So this is for our bauble that I just had sitting on my desk, but I wanted to show you that you can make an envelope for something that's, you know, a bit random. So 6.25. Now I'll just make sure that that was correct. So there's our square where I placed it, knowing that it'll fit in perfectly. So it's across from here to here, 5.25 plus 1 inch makes it 6.25 inches. So 6.25 inches square. Oh, okay, so I've got quite a bit of paper for my niece, and I'll put this one back because I can use that again. Okay, so there's my 4. I'll put my cutter away. Okay, so let's start with our big card. So then I just have to work out, am I using that side or that side? And I might put this on the inside. So what I need to do now on my mat is I line it up, and I can pick any line I like. For the purpose of this, I'm using this, and just to make sure I'm using the same line all the way up, because, you know, sometimes we get a bit boggle-eyed. So I know that down here on this point is on this line here, and it's got to go up to the line up here. Okay, so now I know that that is straight, and I put my card in the middle of the paper. Now you can actually eyeball it like I am, and sometimes I look at the screen to make sure that it is actually pretty much in the middle of the piece of paper. You can put a ruler here to make sure you know, that you're on a specific line, so you know the bottom of the card and the top of the card. I'm pretty okay with that. So while that's in, so we've got our 10.5-inch square piece of paper, and I'm going to bring this end up into the middle. So you're only sort of gently folding it bringing the top one down again, gently folding it, turning it around, and if you just sort of work out where the bottom of or the side of the card in this case is, and I bring that up, okay, gently folding it, turning it around, and gently folding it up. So there I have a general idea of what a envelope looks like. Now, we gently folded them up before. Now we're going to burnish. So I like to go around all edges, just folding them all in. Okay, so we now roughly have our envelope, but we just need to do a couple of little tricks to it so that we get rid of some bulk out of the corners. Now, I also have a corner rounder. I make them sometimes with corner rounders, with no corner rounders. You know, it's totally up to you. But this one I will use a corner rounder, and I'm just rounding the edges a little bit just to, you know, make it look a little bit, just add some texture, not texture, just a bit of a different design. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bone folder and actually go over those creases that we made. And it doesn't really matter which order you fold these in at the moment. Okay, so now we have our folded piece of card. I didn't get myself any scissors. So we need to take these corners out. Okay, so we've got 4 corners that we need to take out. So if you can see the little triangle there, up here, up there is a triangle, here and here. We just need to cut them out. So I just go in and take the triangle out. If you've got a envelope punch board, whatever they're called, which I don't have, you know, this is what it'll end up looking like. Okay, taking the corners out, or the triangles. I don't suppose they're corners really. And this one. Now, I didn't line it up perfectly because when it's lined up properly, you should end up with 4 triangles the same side. So I'm going to fold those 2 in. See, so now we've removed that bulk from here. So when we fold it up, it's there's no bulk there. So with that in mind, actually, you can see that it's not a very straight because I've got a longer piece here, and for me personally, it doesn't worry me. So I need to put I'm going to put some double-sided tape on these 2 pieces. So I'm just putting it here down to our next bit, and I'll get myself a straight edge just so I can cut my tape up, put some double-sided tape. Can't see where the edge is. There. Okay, so there's my 2 pieces of tape. Make sure that they're stuck down. Okay, and there's our envelope. Okay, so now my card, which has some dimension, it's got some folded butterflies, it's got some flowers, you know, it opens up when it's out. This just fits in here. Perfect. I'm just moving my butterflies so they don't get damaged. And we go in there. And because we've got extra, we added that 1 inch, it's given us some room. And there is our envelope for our card. So that's envelope 1. Right, so it's very quick and simple to make. Right, so now we have over here, let's go with this one. So again, we started with a card that was actually 5 by 5. Our diagonal was 7, and we've cut our paper, and our paper is 8 by 8. Okay, so again, we need to find a straight line, and I'm just putting my ruler up there so I know where the line continues to. So we're starting with, on this one here, up to there, No, not quite. Okay, and that's, so now both ends, this end and that end, are on the same line. Okay, so I'm putting my card in the middle, and I'm going to line up roughly where I think the middle is. Let me have a look at my screen. It's not too bad. You know, we're looking here, we're looking there, there, and there. Might need to come over a fraction. Okay, again, pull the top down, fold the bottom up, turn it round, you know, sort of crease where the bottom of the card or the side of the card is. Yeah, that's going up there. Turn it around and fold that up. Okay, so we have our basic envelope shape. Again, we're now going to burnish our edges properly, and then we have to get rid of the bulk out of the middle or the edges. Okay, so there's our basic card shape. So you might see the triangles a little bit better on this side. We've got to take them out of there, 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 and there. So let's take our triangles out. I'm yet to find a card that I haven't been able to make an envelope for using this method. Obviously, if you've got a really thick card, you might need to make a box. Down the track, we'll put up a video of making some different size card boxes. Okay, so there's our envelope with the corners cut out. This one I won't round the corners just because. Okay, so there we've got our, we'll put that one, so we'll fold our sides in, put our edge up, so we need some double-sided tape on those two. Yep, so we'll put some double-sided tape on here. Ooh, didn't put that on very straight. My straight edge. And this one. Okay, and let's cut that there. Okay, so we're going to remove, just make sure it's stuck down properly before you try and lift the backing tape. Okay, and here. Okay, we'll lift that up and our card will fit in perfectly. Okay, so there's card envelope number 2. So this one we measured, it was the card itself this was a bit of the funny one. It's 4 and a bit, and 5 3/4 ish. So when we do the diagonal, we're going from one edge to the other. It was 7 inches as well, like our last piece. So even though these two are different sizes, both required an 8-inch piece of cardstock. So forget what the card dimensions are. All that we're interested in is the diagonal. So it was 7. So we've got ourselves an 8-inch piece of paper. So we are done that really well, haven't I? I have to waste that piece because it's going to be no good. So again, I'm looking for a line and a line, lining it up. I know that's on the line. Here's my card. Now I'm putting it this way. And again, we're lining it up and eyeballing it to see if it's, I think it's got more, maybe a bit up. Okay. So this one, we're going up, we're coming down, we're turning it around, pressing our edges in there, bringing that side up, and bringing this side up. Okay, and there's our basic shape of our envelope. Let's do some burnishing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So again, we need to cut our triangles out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's our finish really well. Now I can see this one here. I haven't taken that piece off properly, so I'm just going to go back in and fix it. There we go. Just taking that extra piece of bulk out. Now with this one, I might actually fold it in this way and then just bring the top down, so to be a top opening card envelope. So what I'll do in this instance is I will put some masking tape. That looks a bit. So let's bring that in. There we go. Yep. So we'll put some masking tape on here and some masking tape on there, just for something different. Or let's have a look. See, that looks a bit messy. No, I think we'll go that way. So we want some masking tape on that piece there. Okay, so that's coming across to there, and then that one, we'll put our masking tape actually on this piece, on this one. Not masking tape, our double-sided tape. So it's coming across here. So burnish our tape on, and our tape. Peel off our backing tape. Fold this edge down, and then this one is going to go over there. Okay, and that one's going there. So our card is going to now go in long ways, and this card has a little bit of dimension on it. It's got some paper that's on top of each other. It's got a sentiment that's up, and it all just fits in perfectly. So there's our top folding envelope. And our last one is our tricky one. So we'll just see how we go with our tricky one. And this one, now we have our piece of paper here. All right, so we've got a nice diagonal. Now this is, we sort of have to pretend where we want to go with this one. So what I might do actually in this instance, because it's a bit tricky, I might actually cut a piece of card to this size. So it was 1, 2, 3 and a bit by 1, 2, 3, 3 and a bit by 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's pretend our envelope is 3 and a bit. So let's just go a little bit more to that. 3 and a bit by, oh, have I got enough for 4? Just. So this should be roughly the size of our, so we're pretending, so even though this is an odd shape, we've now made a piece that we can actually use as our template, template for want of a better word, and we're actually going to make the envelope to fit this, because we know this will fit inside that. Okay, so let's move those out of the way. We'll put our envelope on a line. This is our bit that we know our bauble thing will fit inside, our round piece will fit inside. So we're just going to go here and fold up, fold down. Yep. Just trying to keep that bit straight. Okay, fold up and from there. Okay, so we take this out. We burnish our pieces. And down. Okay, cut our triangles out again. One, two, three, and four. Okay, there's our, now we'll pretend this is our cardigan, what we're putting inside. Okay, so we're going to put some tape on this piece. And this piece. Just make sure they're stuck down properly. Okay, fold that one over, bring that one over, and now let's hope our bauble circle will fit inside there perfectly. So we've got our little bit of string. Like I said, this was just sitting on my desk, and there we have an envelope that'll hold something that, you know, wasn't a card, wasn't anything really. It was just a something that I had on my desk in an odd shape. So no one would know inside this is an actual, you know, something that's round. So you can make an envelope for basically anything. If you know, like I said, we worked on what it would fit on top of, and use this as our guide to cut our paper. So there's 4 different envelopes, 4 different size cards. Yeah, give it a try. Hopefully, you know, it's made some sense to you. Reach out if it doesn't, and we'll see how we can help.